Kiwi. It's 12 minutes past 9.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Live from the New Scientist Labs, Janine Young, newscientist.com.
I think it's an outdoor lab today. It's an outdoor lab in Glasgow. Janine Young with us. G'day, Janine.
Hey, Wammo, how you going?
Very good, and so dedicated to the cause that she's left her celebration dinner because she's just got engaged and she's celebrating, and she's just left to take some time out with us today.
Well, I'm committed to what I do. It's fun and I enjoy it. And it's 15 minutes out of my evening. It's really not a problem and I don't mind at all.
All right, good. Congratulations on behalf of the Kiwi family, by the way.
Thank you very much. We're very happy and it's all very exciting and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. Nice. Well, let's go to the topic today. Today we're talking about some of the tips and tricks that are scientifically proven to improve your brain activity and it's acuity. Is that the word? Acuity.
Acuity. Yes, your mental acuity. Yeah, brain training, unfortunately, has been found to not really do the job. A lot of the Nintendo games and the Wii's and all that sort of thing that claim to be able to improve your skills do okay for a little while, but unfortunately getting really good at a game doesn't translate into general cognitive improvements. It's unfortunate that you're not really going to be able to get anything out of that. So, of course, the question becomes, well, what is going to be good enough? What can I do as a form of, if you like, mental floss to be able to kind of tune your brain up a little bit? And it seems that there's a number of techniques. Learning a musical instrument, for example. As an adult, you're going to get some improvements out of it because you need to activate different parts of your brain and you need to think in slightly different ways. But it gets really, really good if you start around the age of 7. Changes go on in your brain. The brains are very plastic when you're a child, but they pick up a lot of things very easily and very quickly. But if you become reasonably proficient in playing a musical instrument, it seems that you actually can become very good in learning other languages. Musicians, trained musicians in particular, are better at discriminating pitch changes in a made-up language similar to Mandarin. You know that there's tonal changes to words. That means you go from saying, horse as opposed to picnic.
Yeah.
Completely different meanings for different words. Musical training has even been shown to enhance empathy because it fine-tunes their ability to be able to recognise emotional nuances in speech. So a musical training is a really good place to begin. But if you can't do that, if you think that's a little bit difficult, meditation and eating blueberries are the other two
Blueberries?
that are reasonably simple and reasonably straightforward that really do have very positive long-term impacts and aren't too difficult to do.
Why blueberries?
Blueberries have a group of chemicals inside them called flavonoids. They're also in black currants, cocoa, green tea, and here's the best bit, red wine. But let's go with the blueberries because they're probably better for us in the long run. They've found that you can actually enhance your memory and protect against degeneration of your brain by eating blueberries. They also increase your attention. And they think it's because it's activating biochemical pathways that increase the expression of genes that are linked to memory. And that there's a number of different proteins in the brain that are associated with learning and memory. And they think that increasing the activity of these proteins is what the flavonoids are doing. So blueberries are really tasty, they're really good for you, and they could potentially improve your brain function. That can't be a bad thing.
That can't be a bad thing at all. Are there any recommendations about omega-3s at the moment?
Omega-3s, unfortunately, have not been found to be as effective as they were originally thought to be. For a long time, it was thought that they were really good and they'd help you. Now, they are good for things like arthritis, for example. It can actually help with the symptoms of arthritis. But unfortunately, they've found over time that it actually doesn't really do anything for your brain function. So a nice idea, but unfortunately, it doesn't work.
Stink. Oh, well. Moving on from that then. My brain function's slowing down from all those omega-3s that I've been consuming over the short wee while. Let's move on, because we've heard about the animal red list for a while, an endangered list, but is there a plant red list out there?
There is now. It hasn't been out there previously, but we do in fact now have the first list of extinction risks for the world's plants. And it's quite frightening to realise that around 22% of all wild plant species are facing extinction. They were originally looking at 7,000 species, but they only have reliable preliminary conclusions because this list has to be based on scientifically reasonable tests and other assumptions that they're making. So these preliminary conclusions are only being put out there for 4,000 of these species, and they can be broken down to a number of groups that include palms and orchids and grasses and conifers and dicots. And if you know your plants, then, we can have a chat later on and get a bit more species with it. But for now, basically it's saying that the conifers and the cycads are the most threatened, with 36% of them facing extinction. And that's more than a third. That's actually a very concerning statistic.
Is that because they're located in a general area?
They're not actually certain at this point quite why it is that they're the ones that are under threat. I don't have all the criteria in front of me, unfortunately. But yes, it could be to do with species being subjected to different climates and the like. It could be they're becoming too warm. It could be that pollination could be changing. All of these sorts of things do change according to the species. I don't have the ideas about specifically why those ones are, but it's not a question of saying, which plants are our stars here. We don't have the fluffy white polar bear of the plant world. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. But plants do underpin ecosystems, and without the plants, you'll see that other systems fail. So it's a concerning prospect that you're not just going to lose your animals or your birds. If you lose the underpinning species, then the whole thing is going to come down like a pack of cards.
And it's interesting that some of those plants you've been talking about, like the cycads, I mean, they're like those prehistoric plants. They look like the ones that were around during the dinosaur time.
Exactly. They're the ones that have been around the longest and potentially could be the ones that could be hit the hardest.
Yeah. All right, well, we won't keep you any longer away from your celebrations there in Glasgow. Janine, thanks so much for joining us today.
Talk to you next week.
Cheers. And, of course, those stories you'll find in the New Scientist magazine coming out next week, also online as well, newscientist.com.